I'm Jesse Hart of Full Circle Phenomenal.
I'm Catherine Rutan of Infinite Cummings.
And we wanted to make a video on why we're doing this Unite the World firsthand campaign, or crusade as we're calling it now.
Crusade.
And we wanted to recognize that this big culture sharing, we're mostly just putting a label on, but it's happening obviously to the world at large right now as the world's becoming a smaller place, but with the internet and planes very accessible, we're more easily connected, and we want to connect with everyone and make a point to it to show people primarily how wonderful of a world it is, and that it's accessible not just to us but to everyone, and making it an ideal space that we can call ourselves world citizens rather than structuring and labeling ourselves as this, that, or the other, or better than or worse.
And seeing that this is already a united world is part of what we're educating the world about.
Yeah, not just through corporations and media, governments and religions, but through the people, for the people.
Yeah.
I'm very grateful to have been raised in the United States, where the system was originally designed as that, a country for the people, by the people. What about a world for the people, by the people? There's a lot of desire to be in America. Well, why not see the world as potentially America? Not necessarily with the corporatism and the greed and the insecurity of needing more stuff, and pushing other people out. Basically, we're the in-group. How about this Earth, this planet is the in-group? Under what I understand from my introspection, from what I've discovered through my spiritual practice as well as my physical ego, just everyday human practice, is that it's a wonderful world. We are so special to be here. But the only way to really see that is to get outside of your little box, outside of the comfort zone. Expand your horizons, see the world for what it is, see yourself for what you are, for the miracle that's happening inside of yourself every single day that you don't even have to pay attention to. And what it may have taken for you to be here, for your soul to incarnate as a human being in this time. How special you, yes you, no matter how mundane or normal you think you are, truly one of a kind, and in the pinnacle moment to become something truly extraordinary. We see our fair amount of people not wanting to take responsibility for themselves, and wanting to point the personal problems away from themselves, pointing fingers essentially. They said when you point one finger away, there are 3 fingers pointing right back at you. And that's something that's really important. Though it might be easier to point the problem away from yourselves or just say, hey, you deal with this, to be able to take responsibility for ourselves gives us a sense of personal power and the capacity to own our own reality as well as the reality of the people around us, our actual family or our close-knit friends. As we move forward as a human collective, it's really going to be our highest priority to see ourselves as one human family and grow collectively in a healthy relationship. And in order to do that, we have to learn how to communicate ourselves. To communicate to ourselves, we first have to understand ourselves individually and recognize that most of the things that we're afraid about the world are things that we're afraid about ourselves, afraid about our tendencies to be more animalistic,
or misunderstood.
Yeah, driven towards aims that might not actually serve ourselves or the collective, though we've been led to believe that for some time. And understanding that we have a lot of similarities as individuals, regardless of where you're from. There's a lot that we have in common. We all have this same spectrum of human emotions. Not to say that everyone is familiar or let alone accepting of their full spectrum of human emotions, but we do all experience the same feelings. And that's really the primary thing that connects us not only together but as an individual. We all want love. We all want to be appreciated. That's another thing in which we can both give ourselves and each other very easily. Some people a little bit more challenged in that than others, But that's a big part of what we're doing too in our teachings and these consistent videos that we're going to be, is encouraging people who have low self-esteem or low levels of love in their life or appreciation, is to recognize that anyone can be appreciated, and there are keys and skills in which to appreciate yourself and to focus on your highlights and your strengths, and to not look at your weaknesses as bad or as wrong.
Yeah, and also to educate people that we are all similar in the fact that we all seek out like-minded connections, like-minded friends, like-minded new people in our lives that share similar things, like hobbies.
Yeah, we all want to do something rhythmic or patterning. That's another one of our primary similarities, is we all like to do things together, whether it be something for fun or for work, individually or collectively, to have a sense of rhythm, a sense of familiarity and patterning that feels good, that feels like our right vibe, is something that we all appreciate. Doesn't matter what culture you come from or what type of person that you are. We all have that in common. And also we want to be able to celebrate our differences, as our differences give us individuals the capacity to be unique, to be special, or to be part of something unique and special.
And then to celebrate those differences is really a key.
Yeah, even to go off of someone else's pattern and try to be the same, you're still going to inevitably end up doing things slightly differently. Even though we relatively have similar lifestyles often, and similar body types or similar styles, still there are subtleties meant to be celebrated, has to be subtleties. Nature insists that we diversify, that we be different.
Else we would all have the same fingerprints.
Yeah, exactly.
And creating a system of education, considering our future generations and all of their capabilities, which is going to be growing if we pay attention to this evolution of humankind. Our coming generations are definitely going to be more advanced and easily adaptable to new ways of living. So with that in mind, we're creating a new system of education for these future generations as well as for ourselves. I mean, we're going out and doing it first, showing others it can be done, assisting others in learning in new ways. And this new way is simply, you want to experience something, go out and commit to it, and you will experience it.
Yeah, there's clearly more and more right-brain children around, and our current system of education is set up for very left-brain, much more structure. We need to have the capacities to be able to unleash our creative potential. Something that it's like, if we designed all of these machines and this technology, what could it have possibly been for, if not to unleash our creative potentials, to be able to live a life more of leisure and to do what we want. So instead of having jobs, more assembly line type stuff, we get to have vocations and do things and create things that are of our own hearts. And
yeah.
Yeah.
I used to hear this phrase growing up, in the real world, as some kind of coaching or authority figure in my life, whether it be a teacher or a parent or a cousin even. You know, in the real world, Catherine, you're going to have to look at this, and this, and those things would usually be money or college or jobs and those kind of things. And now, in the real world, which is always this eternal moment of now, we are able to do essentially anything that we want, essentially anything that we set our hearts to.
Yeah, who's to say? Who knows what the real world is like? Who has been all around the world? If you've done any traveling, even inside your own country, you'll find that there are a lot of different types of worlds out there. My first time studying abroad in college was my eye-opening awakening to recognizing, wow, there are vastly different worlds on this one world. So what is the real world? We don't actually know, because we're only living it from one human standpoint, one human perspective. The more you travel, the more you broaden your horizons and your perspective, the more you understand that the real world is actually more unreal.
The real world is ever changing, so there really
Massively.
is no definition of what the real world is other than this moment.
And we're going to show a little bit more of what the world could be, what the real world could be about and is about and changing into and dreaming a surreal world into being, or something that's larger than life, more fantastic and not so grueling.
I think it's really important for our coming generations to not have their dreams dampened. If they want to practice a flow art, or if they want to go play, or if they want to practice anything, then they should be enabled and encouraged to go do that, because it is that inner play child that fuels our passion to live.
Yeah, rather than playing it safe.
Right.
Which we find playing it safe is the most unsafe thing that you can do, because it ends up killing your creativity, giving you a mundane life, a very stagnant, patterning, boring life that doesn't give you much of a zeal to take care of yourselves or to take care of others. And so your health begins to decline. You try your best to take care of it with medicine, but medicine, no matter any of its forms, be it pill form or counseling or group therapy, you end up becoming dependent on that medicine for treating the disease over and over and over, and that disease tends to blossom out and you have to keep finding new medicines rather than cultivating a solution or a cure, and finding ease in whatever you're doing.
Going to the foundation of whatever that problem is, even if it is just your idea that there is a problem, which is usually the case.
Yeah, another big thing that we'll be teaching in our system of binary consciousness, and thinking about things neutrally and positively rather than problematic and negative. The final reason of why we're going around the world is why not?
Why not unite the world?
Yeah, if it's already happening, then we're just kind of putting a label on it.
Yeah.
We're just making a point to it and living our dream, which is to see the whole world. I mean, I think a lot of people have that dream, and some people go out and they do actually see some of the world. But what about all of it? What about finding fascination everywhere? Not just the places that are pre-approved, not just becoming a tourist, but actually getting out there, meeting with people, understanding locals and different ways of life and how cool it is, and glean from that and create our own life in a way, rather than having to go off of someone else's, this is what's right and everything else is, outside of your comfort zone or outside of the safe zone. A lot of people are existing. I mean, we have over 7 billion people. That's a huge number to wrap our minds around, and all those people are alive. So one way or another, they're surviving or they're thriving. And so something's working, and that with that number, there's no way there can be very many people who are living the right way. We all must be living the right way in some ways, and maybe we could be living better in others. So reach out to us if you have any questions or comments or suggestions, or open and interested to connect with you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Our contact information will be in the video description or somewhere nearby. So click on our email, check out our Facebook and Instagram pages, our websites, and we'll see you around on the internets, and then hopefully in person as well. Take care, y'all.